The narrative frequently expressed in the Western press that the PRC is perpetrating debt trap diplomacy is one of the more pernicious falsehoods surrounding Chinese investment abroad. In essence, the PRC is seen as a duplicitous moneylender, providing loans to poor countries that they cannot afford, ostensibly to aid in their development, but actually for its own gain. When the victim country must default on the loans, Chinese banks would be ready to seize what they truly wanted: the land, precious minerals, or infrastructure, in recompense. In other words, it is the idea that Chinese finance operates in exactly the manner of Western finance, whose role in maintaining underdevelopment and exploitation was thoroughly examined in Chapter 2. It has already been shown that the motivations behind Western and Chinese finance differ fundamentally. This chapter will further show that over the entirety of the PRC's dealings with the periphery, the debt trap narrative has struggled to establish even a single point of contact with reality. Yet an investigation into the operation of Chinese finance will nevertheless suggest that there is a hidden agenda behind it, one that will go a long way toward demystifying the poor financial performance discovered earlier in this chapter, and one that is concealed not from its clients, but from its Western competitors. The PRC is not only a terrible investor, it is also a poor debt collector and an utter failure as a repo man. China does not always collect its debts on time, admitted a headline in The Economist in 2022, citing a study by World Bank economists. In 2019, when due to its declining oil output, Venezuela fell behind on its oil for loans commitment to the PRC, rather than seizing Venezuelan assets or demanding painful economic restructuring, the Chinese side instead restructured the agreement, postponing Venezuela's obligations by 2 years, and in the meantime buying Venezuelan oil for cash. In 2015, the Chinese side agreed to concessionary interest rates, 1.6% or less, for infrastructure loans to Pakistan, offered another loan at a 0% interest rate, and converted a $230 million loan for the construction of the new Gwadar International Airport into a grant. In 2006, one of China Exim Bank's first concessional loans to fund the Sino-Zimbabwe cement plant in Gweru district as a joint venture between a Chinese and a state-owned Zimbabwean corporation was restructured, lowering the interest rate to 2%. Professor Deborah Brodegum of Johns Hopkins University, one of the leading scholars of Chinese foreign development policy, identified this as a pattern in Chinese finance even during the 2000s. During the 2010s, the repayment schedules of several $billion worth of loans from Chinese financial institutions to Chad, Mozambique, Ethiopia, the Republic of the Congo, and several other African countries were extended, often with reduction of interest rates. In 2016, China Development Bank's commercial loans to Angola totaling $7.5 billion were refinanced. According to a paper co-authored by Brodegum and 2 of her peers in 2020, though more than 30 Chinese banks and companies had provided credit to African governments, and loan renegotiations were generally conducted on a case-by-case basis, there was a notable trend toward real net present value (NPV) reductions, mainly through lower interest rates, longer grace periods, and substantially longer repayment periods.